Hey guys, Metal Viking 82 here, back with another Viking Orations. Got another review for you today, and this time I'm going to be talking about the upcoming debut full-length album from the band Suppression, entitled The Sorrow of Soul Through Flesh. Now, if you're not familiar with this band, they are a death metal band from Santiago, Chile, that have been around since 2012, featuring Pablo Cortez on bass, Daniel Pobletti, hopefully I pronounced your last name right, on guitars, Christopher Zapata on drums, and Alejandro Cruz on vocals. As I said, this is the band's debut full-length album. It is 10 tracks, just under 39 minutes in length, and yeah, I've been a fan of this band since I picked up their Repugnant Remains EP. So when I received the promo for this upcoming full-length debut, I eagerly dove into it, and I was not disappointed in the least with this. The heavy tone guitars hit you with these mid to fast-paced riffs with some slower, chuggier moments, i.e. track number 4 on Perpetual Misery. It's a really good example of that. And some really killer solos throughout this album. The guitars do have a bit of a Cannibal Corpse vibe to them at times as well, and that's not the only Cannibal Corpse sounding thing that I picked up on. The bass is thick toned with a slight twang to it, and to me has, sounds a bit of an like Alex Webster style production, which is really cool because I love Alex Webster's playing. And yeah, the bass is just right up in the mix, very easily heard. In the opening track, Lifelessness, at the 3:33 mark, there's this really cool little bass section where it's basically just the bass alone. All the other instruments have stopped, and it has this kind of a techie vibe to it. And then finally, the other instruments finally kick back in, and then you get these nice blast beats all the way to the end of the song. And there's throughout the album, there's actually several other parts where you just get this really kind of cool little bass section going on. It's very techie sounding. I thought it sounded really cool. Solid drum production and performance overall here. Nice patterns, rolls, and fills. I loved the blast beats and the double bass work on here. Now, vocally, Alejandro has a real Chuck Schuldiner vibe to his vocals. Think, Leprosy era Chuck Schuldiner, but he also mixed in these nasty and maniacal screams at times, and I think he turned in a really solid performance on this album. Some of the other things that I picked out while listening to this, track number 4, going back to it, Unperpetual Misery. At the 4:40 mark, there's this almost like ethereal, slow-picked riff that comes in as the other instruments start to fade away, and eventually it becomes the only, just this riff playing, and I thought that sounded really cool. Track number 5, Unwinding Harmonies. Now, the opening to this instrumental track has this spacey, kind of techie build to it, finally kicking things into gear proper at the 1:18 mark. And then finally, track number 9, Arrowheads. Now, at first, I thought this acoustic instrumental should have been more in the middle of the album as a segue, basically taking the place of track 5. I kind of thought maybe they should have been switched around. But the more I listened to it and the more I thought about it, it actually works as it is, as it kind of lulls you into thinking that the album is over before giving you one final beating, so to speak, because you go through all these, blast beats and the heavy guitars and the growls and everything, and then you get to track number 9, and it's this, kind of slow, acoustic-y track, and you're thinking, okay, album's over, this is how it's going to end, so it's going to end on a soft note, and then as soon as it ends, bam, track number 10 kicks in, and like I said, gives you one last beating. Overall, I thought this was an absolute banger of an album. It's full of headbangable riffs and solos, some killer bass work here, solid drumming, all topped off with some equally killer vocals provided by Alejandro. This album just has this old school death metal feel, but a modern take on it, and I'm really anxious to see what this band has in store for us in the future. I definitely recommend checking this one out. I give it a solid 9 out of 10. So the new Suppression album comes out April 25th on Unspeakable Acts Records. I will leave a link down below so you can check out the band's EP, because as far as I could see, there has not been a single or anything released from this upcoming album, so you could at least check out their EP and get an idea of this band's sound. But when this does drop, I would definitely recommend picking it up. Thank you guys so much for watching and subscribing, and until next time, stay brutal.